Hi everyone, and welcome to this last day of Digital Open Days by POLI.design. I'm Martina Galli, and I'm part of the staff of POLI.design, a society founded by Politecnico di Milano that today will present its first level specializing master and executive courses. I would like to remind you that at the end of each presentation, there will be a Q&A moment. So if you have any questions, please write them in the chat room. The master we are going to present is the Master in Transportation and Automobile Design, and I'm here with the faculty of the master, the director, Professor Fausto Brevi, and the didactic coordinator, Professor Alice Pignatel. So welcome, and I leave you the stage.
Thank you very much, Martina, and welcome everybody. So, as Martina already told you, this is the presentation of the Master in Transportation and Automobile Design that is usually known as simply as Master TAD. That, of course, is the acronymus. This master course is a specializing master in car design managed by Politecnico di Milano and managed also by POLI.design, that is the company of Politecnico di Milano in charge for managing the specializing master courses. This course, as all the masters, grants 60 CFU. That means 60 units in the European credit transfer system that is the usual European way to recognize a course all around Europe. At the end of the course, students will receive a Politecnico di Milano diploma in this master course. So what are the main goals of this master course? The main goals are to teach designers that are able to be involved in the full process of designing new vehicles, new terrestrial vehicles, so cars mainly, but not only, and this is the reason why the name of the title of the master is not just cars or automobile, but is transportation and automobile. So the main focus is on cars, but also other vehicles are covered by the masters. So the goal of the master course is to cover all the process that is usually managed inside the design centers of the main companies involved in transportation design. This master course is the unique, in Italy is the unique master in car design managed inside the university. There are also other courses, but not in university. And this is Politecnico di Milano is the major technical university in Italy, and so it's able to give to students a pathway with a rigorous approach, both from a professional point of view and also from an academic point of view, with a scientific and rigorous approach to the process of design vehicles. It's interesting to understand that there are a lot of different professional profiles involved in designing new vehicles. And so our goals is to give to people that attend this course that there is not only the typical profile that all of everyone knows, that is the exterior designer, we have a special focus for exterior designer, but there is also a lot of attention and a lot of time devoted to other to give to students other skills, both technical and theoretical. So the profiles that will able to look for a job at the end of the course will be, yes, of course, as exterior designers, but also as interior designer. That is a very interesting professional profile, because there is a lot of request at this time from by the companies, because the interior of the vehicles are changing a lot in these years because of the automation of a lot of process inside the cars, and for the new approach that we will have in the future because of the autonomous vehicles that will arrive in the next years. There is the color and trim designer, that is the designer in charge for deciding, of course, the colors, but also the materials and the finishing of everything that you like and you touch in a vehicle. Visual designer is a guy, the other profile, visual designer, surface designer, and UX designers are not so well known, but they are key roles inside the process, and they are working side by side with exterior, interior, and color and trim designers, and for being able to create images, movies, and virtual reality situation able to be used as a design review during the process of the design. Surface designers are people in charge for building models that, of course, are more and more focused on digital models, but there are still also physical models that are used inside companies. And UX designers that are involved in designing the human interface interaction, but also to design the user experience that is at the end is the reason why people decide to buy or to change his vehicles. So the course structure is based on different approaches. So there are some courses, some didactical modules that are more focused on professional approach, and the other on a more theoretical approach. But anyway, the next edition of the master will start in March 2024. And it lasts 15 months, so it will end at the end of May 2025. There is also a part during the last months of the master course in which there is the opportunity to spend time in an internship in companies, and there is also a side path for students that will be not able to find for an internship, and they will have an extra teaching path that is useful for increasing once again their abilities and their skills, and for being even better at the end of the course. So this is the list of the didactical units. So Car Design Studio is the main, the larger didactical unit, and is the didactical unit where the thesis project will be developed, and it will be a full project of a vehicle with exterior, interior, and everything else we have discussed earlier. And Then there is transportation design workshops that are 3 different break in the teaching path in which we stop any other activities and we concentrate on developing a very short and intensive project. Then we have other didactical units that are more focused on professionalizing approach, like creativity group empowerment, that is a unit where to learn how to work in a creative environment, but to work in a creative environment as a team, not just as a single unit in which everybody believes to be the best of the group. That is a key point, because today every design process is a group process, is not just a single and individual process. Then there are other part like the portfolio empowerment for giving to students some suggestions, some hints, some tricks also for building a portfolio that could be more attractive for companies. IP law, that means intellectual property law in automotive design, is for giving to students also a framework about their duty and their rights in this market. And then there is, of course, the internship. Then other modules are, some of them are more focused on tools and techniques, other are more focused on the theories and the methods of approaching this special kind of project that is, of course, an industrial design project, but is a very specialized process. So here now we have a few slides just for giving you some example and some ideas of the final projects. All of these are thesis projects developed in the recent years. This is 3 years ago, and these also you can see that there are very different projects, because there is a main topic that has to be covered every year, but then every group of students, because all of the thesis projects are developed in small groups of students, you will see that every group is able to develop its unique interpretation of that topic. So this was an excellent example of a vehicle, a futuristic vehicle able to be driven on the earth, but also underwater. And this is a full autonomous vehicles, single seat for going on the street, but also inside the buildings. So it's able to bring you from home to your desk in the office without leaving this very small and electric and autonomous vehicle. And this is a completely different vehicle with a completely opposite scenario around it. Instead of being a typical city vehicle like the previous one, this is for the Antarctic scenario. So for a group of scientists that should explore the Antarctic area, and so they need a special vehicle able to be driven and able to work with the rigid temperature of the Antarctic area. And this is a more traditional vehicle, but it's a very sporty vehicle, able to be driven on a normal street, but it has been designed also for track, because the owner could be interested in enjoying it himself, also driving a car on track. So at least some information about the application, but I leave this part to Professoressa Pignatel.
Thank you very much. And once again, thank you all of you for attending. A few information, very practical and I hope useful for you about the selection process. We have a limited number of seats in the course, so we have a selection of our candidates and we have some requirements from you. Of course, this is a specializing master course. The most important requirements you will have to meet is the first level degree or equivalent. In Italy, it's a 3-year degree, so that's the minimum. We accept students coming from the design field especially, but in general, all the disciplines connected to project. So it means engineering and architect are more than welcome in the course since they bring diversity in the course and it's a very interesting thing to have in our classes. And of course, the course is in English, so we need students to be able to interact with teacher and especially with their colleagues. So an upper intermediate level of knowledge about the English language is required. And the selection is carried on entirely with selection documents. The process is carried on by means of our website, where you'll be finding a form to fill in where you can upload the selection documents. And especially we request our students to send their resume, their portfolio, and we ask project portfolio of previous work for those people who are coming from a industrial design path or in general from the design field. While for everyone applying to the course, we request a drawing portfolio that is very, very important for us since representation and the ability to put in the proper shape and make things understandable for others is the main goal of the designer. So we request our candidates to have skills in that field and be able to properly represent complex shapes. That is the goal of the transportation design, together, of course, with more general documents such as personal documents, the degree, and that, of course, is required. And the selection will be carried on by the board of the master course, especially on those skills. One more thing we requested is very specific, the video CV, or I like to call it a video presentation reference letter. Instead of writing us your motivation to join the course, we would like you to put your face on it. So a short video where you present yourself, your goals, your passion to the master board so that we can understand why you'd like to join the course. Here the deadlines. Of course, you can find any information on the website as well. We are starting in March, so we need to receive your application by January for Italian students and foreign students who had their degree in Italy, and a bit earlier for foreign citizens to be able to manage all the papers for the visa and bureaucracy. And here the tuition fee for the course, as you can see, 15,500 euros is the total amount of the tuition fees, where 500 is actually the Politecnico of Milano enrollment fee. Also, feel free to send us your question now, of course. We will be glad to reply.
Yes. So thank you for this presentation, and let's start with the questions. So if you, okay, we have one question. I give you mine.
Thank you for the presentation. And I just want to know in which way you choose if work on a motorcycle or a car, because I'm more interested in motorcycle design. I also love cars, so obviously, but I would like to work in this field, in the motorcycle field. So for the projects in the master, how you choose if work on a motorcycle or on a car design?
Thank you for the question. The thesis project will not be all on car or all on motorbikes or anything else. For example, maybe, okay, great. This example, for example, is a 3 wheels vehicles, but this is a strange vehicle because it was designed for being driven on normal street, but also with a low level of water. So in a city like Amsterdam, for example, in a future in which the level of the ocean could be raised and we could have some water also on the streets. So from a starting point of view, there is no specific focus on which kind of vehicles could be designed. At the same time, during the special transportation design workshop steps, there are the opportunity to design different kind of vehicles, and that is something that could change year by year, but there was, for example, 1 year, there was an agreement and a special interest from a company involved in motorbike field, and so in a workshop was fully dedicated to design motorbike. Anyway, during all the master course, there is the opportunity to develop also some side projects in a sort of autonomous way, in which the autonomy is on the choice of which kind of vehicles to design. And the teachers are anyway in charge for reviewing also that. That is something very important because it is also a key step for having the same base, but at the same time a different portfolio for each student, because otherwise one of the most difficult part is that if the students that work in the same group on a project have only that project in their portfolio, also for the companies is impossible to decide which one could be interesting for them, because okay, but on this portfolio is this project. Oh, but also in this portfolio is the same project. So who did this? So of course, and it's also the reason why there is a specific didactical unit dedicated on empowering the portfolio quality, because also students that are working on the same project, they should be able to demonstrate their proper skills and their contribution on the group project. But of course, it's important also that anyone is able to develop something by himself, and for you could be absolutely great if you will develop motorbikes, also because your portfolio will be characterized by having inside a lot of motorbikes.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? Okay. Let's start reading with this one in the chat room. The first one was about motorbikes, so the same as this one, so thank you.
But it has been written by him with the phone.
You can tell us. Okay. So one of the question is, so the autonomous project can be on track?
What does it mean to be on track? Autonomous?
Trucks,
On tracks. Why not? Of course, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. The answer is the same. He is interested in motorbike. If someone else is interested in trucks, welcome, no problem. It's exactly the reason why we decided and we avoided to name this master car design. That is a very typical and easy way to title a master like this, but at the same time, we don't want to be restricted even more in these years in which also the same idea of cars is changing a lot.
Okay, thank you. So the next one is, I have seen there have been some changes from the past years. If I'm not wrong, there was, for example, a module of clay modeling and there was no internship. Could you explain why this changes?
Yeah, of course, year by year there are some changes because we try to do every year something better, of course. The guy that wrote this message noticed a couple of differences, but there are also others. If we go back on this slide. For example, in the past there weren't the first two in theories and method, that was exterior car design studio and interior car design studio, because in the past there were only car design studio as a big unit in which there were at first the explanation about how to do the exterior design and the interior design, and then the final project. Instead, we simply reorganize something for having something better understandable and organized. So we have in the first phase, that means from the beginning until the summer break, we have the exterior car design studio, in which there is a teacher teaching how to design exterior, and another module with another teacher for interior, that are not directly connected. And then after the summer break, it will start the car design studio, in which everything will be put together. About clay models, for example, is no more a individual unit, because it is inside the car design studio. So it is a tool used in car design studio, but is no more an individual unit. And the last was that there wasn't the internship in the past. Really, there were a long time ago, in the first 2 or 3 years, then it was taken off, and now since a couple of years is back on. So once again, we are not static. Is not this is the 16th year, and we are not the same. In 16 years, we try to stay updated and to change. There weren't in the past. There weren't also experience interaction design for vehicles, for example, is quite new. It has been introduced 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay. And I think the last one is, are there some specific modules? Oh no, this one is we answered on motorbike. And I studied architecture. Can I apply? If yes, what should I be adding in my portfolio?
Yes, as Alice already said, absolutely. People with a degree in architecture or an engineer are more very welcome, but even sometimes happens also with people with a completely different background. Of course, there is a strong attention for the admission process if there is a degree not coming from design, engineer, or architecture, but also the most important thing is to have at least a 3 years degree, because otherwise it become a bureaucratic stuff and is not possible. But it's very important that people demonstrate to be passionate to this field and to be able to move a bit and, for example, to be able to describe a complex shape drawing or using a computer or in some way, because if you look at shapes of vehicles, you will realize that are complex shapes, are not easy shapes. For people with a degree in architecture or in engineer, we don't ask for for a portfolio with projects, but we require a portfolio of drawing. It doesn't matter which kind of drawing of vehicles, of course, but could be from fantasy or from real, doesn't matter. The best should be to have a mixture of both, something from real vehicles and other from your fantasy, and even something with like from fiction or something like that, because in this way we can evaluate also your creativity. Instead, if you simply reproduce already existing vehicles, okay, it's important for us for understanding your capabilities in representing a vehicle, but we are not able to understand also your level of creativity. So this is the reason why I said the best is if you are able to give us, to submit us a mixture of drawing with existing vehicles and fantasy.
Thank you. We have one more question. For international applicants, are there any portions of the program that can be completed remotely, or is it all in person?
No, it's only in person, luckily. We managed and we have the structure for managing also from remote if there is another or any emergency situation, but we hope to be over any emergency situation and to be able to do everything in classroom, because it's really very, very important to live all together for building a real team and working as a team on the project, because otherwise sometimes it could be useful to attend by remote, but cannot be something a normal situation, because otherwise it's impossible to create the team that could work in an efficient way on the project.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're done with the questions. So thank you very much for this presentation, and thank you all for staying with us, and stay with us also for the presentation of the next master. Thank you.